So one of the main reasons why I love using a pencil is because it's not permanent and you can always erase strokes and alter it and tweak it. It's not final, and so it just allows me to exercise my creativity and think outside the box and not be afraid to even make mistakes because it's just pencil. And as you can see, all of these pencils and the erasers are like pretty worn out because I go through so much erasing even when doing one word or name. And so we're gonna go through one together. The first name I'm actually going to demo together is Frederick. Okay, so I asked you guys on Instagram and that was one of the names that I saw. So when I usually want to play around with flourishes, I'm gonna lay down the foundation for the letter forms. And so I'm using the John Neal copper plate graph pad. So I'm gonna mark my X height. Let's say my X height is here. Usually do about 2 boxes for my X height, and then I'll do about 5 boxes for my capital letter. Okay, so here's my F. R. E. D. Then you have another E. R. I. Okay, so notice that when I'm using this pencil, you can see the thicks and thins because I'm exerting pressure every time I want the stroke to come out dark, and then it's lightening up when I lift, when I lighten my hand. Q, U, and then E. Okay, so putting down the basic letter forms really helps me to see where I can work with for my flourishes. Okay, so here I definitely want to use this uppercase letter. I have a ascending area here, the D, can use that. And then I can use the end flourish off of that E. Then the bottom here, we have the F here to work with, or this Q that can come out this way. Okay, so I'm going to start with my capital letter here. Okay, I'm using the Sumo Grip, but whatever eraser you have is fine. This is just the one that I happen to have. Okay, so the bottom of this F, I'm actually going to bring it down under the baseline because I'm noticing that I don't have a lot of competing strokes here. Okay, so I can make a small loop at the baseline and then bring it down under. Can add a small loop. Okay, and then for the top part for this F, you can definitely extend out this entrance stroke. So we can use a pencil to easily add strokes here. Kind of extend it out like that. And then the top part for that F, maybe, I'm trying to think because depending on what I do with this F, I can see if it's gonna clash with this D. Okay, so I think this D, I'm gonna wrap it around like this and bring it in. Okay, so let me erase out a little bit of the top part. And don't be afraid to go above the the center space, especially with flourishes. It kind of makes it more open. You can add a loop, add a shade, a little bit of shade, and make sure you end that stroke with a nice curved line. With this F, I'm still trying to figure out what to do with that. Maybe I can even bring that up. Let's see what that looks like. And actually this part of this F looks a little more rounded than oval, so I'm actually gonna adjust that too. This part straight. Okay, notice I'm doing a lot of erasing because I'm trying to figure out what I like before committing to anything. Okay, let's see, I'm gonna keep this. A small loop here. And lastly, we have this Q, and then we have some space on the right side of this name. So thinking, and I like to kind of make this somewhat angled. Then you can bring that loop out. E, you can definitely use the end flourish here. And bring it below the baseline. And then we can bring it back up. Okay, so then usually at this point, I'll just kind of look at the name one more time just to see if I'm happy with all of the flourishes. Erase this part. Just do it more simple. That might actually look better. So that's how kind of like my mind and how I use pencils when I'm doing these kind of sketches for our names. And especially when I'm doing longer pieces like this one I have done before, where if you have a lot of these like flourishes that's going to be intersecting other words around it, I definitely need to be comfortable using a pencil to make adjustments and change the direction of the strokes until I'm happy with my entire layout before inking it. And so hopefully this kind of helps you to see the benefits of using a pencil, especially when you're kind of in that design stage of sketching out different ideas. I'm gonna do one more name. It's gonna be Priscilla Ann. So like I did before, I'm gonna just mark out how big I want the letters. I'm gonna usually write out my basic form first. So similar to before, I'm gonna just look at these letters and see the potential for where to add the flourishes. Okay, I usually start with the capital letter. Definitely you want to add that. And then the end flourishes, I'm gonna look at the double letters here. I'm gonna look at my descender space, and this particular name has no descending stem loops. So then if that's the case, I'll look at different letters where I can incorporate flourishes. So S would be a really great one here, or even the L or the A, or even one of these N's. Definitely have some ascending options for these, and then the end flourish. Okay, So let's see. I'm gonna do the S down here. Let's see. If I do an S stroke here, then the P, I can kind of keep it pretty simple. There's a lot of different options, but okay. So for this P for now, I'm just going to leave this one simple. So I'll just add a loop, and I can even bring it back up to that R. Okay. Then with the S, I'm gonna actually bring it down below the baseline. Okay, so usually I'll go kind of below the baseline here, and then wrap this stroke in a nice oval shape underneath the baseline. Okay, with this P again, you can kind of bring it out. And extend this a little bit. So we have this S down here with the L. Usually when I have double letters, I like to keep one pretty simple, and then this, and then the other one next to it, I'll try to see what I can do to flourish here. So I'll probably bring this around. And loop it back up. But I want to keep this more flatter. Let's try that part again. Okay, and then okay, pretty happy with this L, just because it kind of comes, takes over the left and the right part. And this L, I can loop it here. You can even make it like that. And then this A, I can bring that down here because there's a lot of space down here for the descending space. Or I can add a ribbon, which I love adding ribbons these days. It's a little bit more dramatic. Okay, so I'm gonna erase that A, because I'm gonna bring it down here. I need to get a skinnier eraser. Okay, and then this A here, I can use this definitely to flourish a little bit more bigger to kind of complement that P. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this whole A. Okay, so we can begin my A here. Sometimes I like to even go behind the letter and bring that stroke around. Kind of ties in the names nicely together. Okay, so that looks like it's tucked behind that A. And it looks like I'm going to need a little bit more space here, so I'm going to just shift all of that behind. And this one, you can add a small loop on top here. And then finish the name. Okay, so here, you're going to do your crossbar, wavy crossbar, and then the end of this name, I have a lot of end flourishes here to work with, so I'm actually going to use this one. Okay, going below the baseline here kind of helps me to extend out my stroke out more, and then bring it back down. Okay, so I like to intersect that line once up here and then kind of in the middle here, so that's balanced. And then I'm going to step back and see what I think about this overall look. So definitely have a lot of big flourishes here. I have the S, the L, I'm happy with the ending. And the P, this loop looks a little bit obviously smaller compared to all the bigger strokes out here. I'm going to be trying all different strokes before committing to anything, because again, there's no need to commit yet, because it's all, using a pencil and eraser. But once I change that here, I noticed that it looks very similar to the A. So I don't like putting too many similar flourishes next to each other. So I'll probably, let's erase this for now for a second. Go back to where it was before. That. Or maybe can end it like that. And now that I have this flourish here, I can use this as a guide for when I'm doing this S flourish. I just want to make sure I'm not going so close to that stroke. So I can make the S flourish a little bit bigger and then hug it around that stroke of the P. That pretty much is how I usually use these pencils. Not necessarily for like my daily practicing per se, but more for designing, flourishes as well as layout design. Especially because for layouts, when you're working on bigger pieces, you don't want to just ink it right away, because you can have spacing issues and layout issues, and it's so much easier to just make sure you have that design set in pencil first, and then the inking part then can go very smoothly. So hopefully this video helped you guys to see all the possibilities that you guys can use, just with a pencil and an eraser. And if you are looking for this particular handout, you can always Google search like jetpens.com, like pencil lead grade, and this should pop up in your feed. So thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.